Yo, today we have a newsletter post. Understanding your why. Why is it important? Thank thank God, alhamdulillah, thank God. We made it to January. We're January 3rd right now. There is a great quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, and I hope I pronounced that right. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. This is a quote I found a year ago and has impacted me ever since. It is important to have a reason for your task. When you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Will you know the answer? Think about it. Have you ever thought about why you want to pursue something really? Or have you just supplemented the answer, just a short-term replacement for that answer while you pursue something? Have you really sat down and thought about why you want to do this thing that you're trying to pursue? Or what do you even want to pursue? Or will you spend hours thinking about it and then leave it for later down the line when you are ready to have an answer? When you leave things later down the line for that ready version of you, is that even a thing that you're even sure of exists? Will there ever be a ready version of you if you don't start now, if you don't have an answer now? It is important to reflect on your justifications for your actions so you can have that strong conviction, will and intention behind your actions. And it's not about finding your why now, it's about working on how you will find it from now. So start thinking, having that time for yourself, thinking about yourself. Ask people in, ask those around you. Have those conversations about passions, finding a why, having a purpose. Open that discussion, and also have that, like how I said, that time for reflection by yourself, and it'll really break those mental barriers and help you really pursue something and be dedicated to it. If you see people that give you a feeling that they know what they are doing and why, this is likely because they have a strong why behind their work and they know what is driving their behaviors. It's those people that you see that have a strong conviction behind the things they say, and what seems to be a strong intention behind their actions, and they're very driven, and you can tell through their words and their actions. Spending time to build and understand your motivations is an essential part of self-evaluation and self-improvement. One way to put this into practice is one example from a very knowledgeable person, Muhammad Hijab, who is a Muslim influencer that I do respect for his hard work. And I've come across a lot of great Muslim speakers, from like Speaker's Corner, and they have a lot of a value that they put out there. He gave an example about how to read books and says something along the lines of, you must understand this when reading books. This is what the writer wants me to know, but what do I want to know from the writer or the author of this book? So if I try to kind of add on to it, it's basically the book itself is what the author wants you to know. And you have to put yourself in the position of the reader, of thinking for yourself, what do I want to know from the author? Rather than just reading the book completely, have you asked yourself, I know I haven't before, but after I learned that, I started to. Have you ever asked yourself, what do I actually want to know from the author? Have you gone through the contents? Have you ever looked into the backstory of the book? Have you looked into the author? Have you gone through a summary of the book? Have you just kind of like skimmed over it? Because when you put yourself in that position, it puts you more in a situation where you're in control of what you're trying to learn and what you're trying to figure out. And me writing a book myself, I know that me being the author, the entire book is what I want the readers to know. And if I come across a reader who has that mindset of this, what do I want to know from Chance? What do I want to know from his book? It shows a lot of wise kind of behavior from that person. This sounds very straightforward and simple, but I never thought of reading like that until I saw this video a year ago. I had always picked up a book and read start to finish, not thinking about why I was really reading this, and what did I specifically want to know or figure out for myself from this author's work. It is a remarkable way to shift your thought process from a consumer to a creator. Exactly. So it shifts because if you think of it on a more of a applicable way where you can apply it to different avenues of your life, it's more of you switching from someone who's just consuming to someone who's being more of a creator, thinking more about yourself, thinking about how you can improve from this when you take into consideration what you want and what you want to do in your life. You can change from being someone that is just reading a book without understanding what you really want from it to being proactive and taking things into your own hands by first finding out what you want to know and reading according to your benefit based on your needs. This is just a great way to understand how to apply your why and use it to your benefit and use it to benefit your wants and needs. This is exactly the reason why I mentioned the example, because it's a great avenue into understanding the concept of knowing your why. And in this example of learning for yourself, what do you want to know from the author, by doing your research behind it and knowing what you're going to read beforehand, and if you even need to read the book in its entirety or just parts of it, knowing that beforehand, you're understanding the why before you're reading the book, as opposed to just reading it in its entirety, because that's two different things. Person A who reads a book in its entirety, which, for example, from my experience, when I just picked up a book, just saw the title, saw a review of some sort, oh, this book is great for this and this, and I just read the book. It's a different feeling than when you actually do your research behind the book, look through the content, see what intrigues you first, and pick based on that, and actually have a stronger intention, conviction, and purpose behind reading the book. So in that same way, apply that to your life and figure out, what do you want from your life? What do you want to achieve? Why do you want to grow in this avenue? Who do you want to communicate with? Why do you want to pursue things? Why do you want to grow here? Like how I mentioned, there's many different questions you can ask yourself, but start asking yourself questions, start working towards those answers.